One love, iIMGi. This is Dr. Life Jr. This is my son, Dr. Life Jr. In the one love, my wife, Dr. Kenisha Life. Myself, Dr. J, Dr. Life. Present to you the one love, single iIMGi, hip hop symphony. From Bob Marley and Beverly. To Nipsey and Lauren. Hip hop neighborhood gang. And this is the Hollywood Grail Streams. Hollywood Studio. Where we're going to give all of the young people who want it the access to the top 1% that my children have. And we're going to use hip hop to give all of the babies their inheritance. We're going to teach them how to worship. We're going to use hip hop. We're going to use hip hop symphony to teach them how to worship and get to the kingdom. This is at Osceola Adventist Christian Oaks. Osceola Adventist Christian School. Where I'm the proud athletic director of basketball and volleyball. My son playing the flute. My wife's son, right there. I must get props. I must get credit. Later. What you're looking at is Osceola Adventist Christian School. And this is a fundraiser that they do every year. It's called the Pancake Jamboree. Good job. Good job. Good job.
So the next time that the orchestra will perform is actually going to be the Spring Spectacular. But we are bringing them to Advent Health Kissimmee, and we're going to be doing caroling at that hospital in December. So the strings have special pieces, the woodwinds have special pieces, but that'll be the next time that you'll hear the whole group. You won't hear them until the Spring Spectacular because Christmas is going to be a huge program like last year. One more round of applause for her.
Oh, you good, you good, you good, you good. So this is called the Pancake Jamboree. The reason they call it the Pancake Jamboree is it's a fundraiser where you eat. We have French toast, pancakes, eggs, fruits. So you come and you purchase a ticket. And the ticket, you get fed. And there's going to be a raffle. So this is the fundraiser. These are the baskets for the fundraiser. These are the baskets for the fundraiser. And this tells you what's in each of the baskets. And so it's going to be an auction to raise funds. Every year they do this wonderful event. Great job, great job. This is the face painting station. Kids are getting their faces painted. So you could choose to get a ticket just to eat. Or you could get a ticket that includes everything. Do they have the horses this time? Oh, no. No horses. So that's the Pancake Jamboree. There's another station down here by the church. I'm going to take y'all down by the church. But the most important thing, like I said, wherever our children, whatever institution our children are a part of, we make sure that the least of these, our brothers and sisters, got access to the privileged things that our children have been given access to. And unfortunately, there have been groups and individuals who have not wanted to see our peoples at the bottom rungs of society. Our people at the bottom rungs of society. There are groups of people who profess to be followers of the Lamb, who feel comfortable with our people being at the bottom rung and not having opportunities to climb. So my wife challenged me at Oakwood University. She told me she was ready to go home leave Huntsville, she said, but before we leave, we gotta make our mark. We gotta leave our legacy of life saving. This is what my wife said. And you know what? My mother came down then. My mother came down to Huntsville and helped prepare the very first Break the Cycle event that we did. Ironically, it was on a Thanksgiving, 1999, just before the year 2000. The birth of my daughter, Deja. The death of my grandmother, Evelyn Webb. And then the new millennium coming in, where I would step into the role of being the seer that I was raised to be. And my wife said, it's time. It's time. So I reached out to E.T. the hip hop preacher, and we, just before Thanksgiving, same time, like this, 25 years ago, before the millennium. And in 2001, you had 9/11. So 3 years before 9/11, my daughter Deja was born prophetically 3 years before 9/11. Just like the Messiah was in the grave 3 days. Just like Jonah was in the belly of the whale 3 days. 1999, 2000, and then 9/11. And that 25 years ago to the very day, halftime, halftime in between the 50 years anniversary that 2026 makes of when we first went to Huntsville. We first went to Huntsville 50 years ago, 1976. 50 years to the very, very day. And there's another prophetic, the ultimate wedding feast is about to happen. Just like 9/11, the ultimate prophetic fallacy, the ultimate false prophet, the ultimate false prophet in the book of Revelation is Revelation 13. I have a spiritual PhD. I have a spiritual PhD as a seer, based off of Revelation 13, based off of Daniel 12, but especially Revelation 13. I got my mathematics PhD in Daniel chapter 12, but my seer PhD that my wife was talking about is based off of Revelation 13. And it talks about a dragon speaking lamb like beast. A dragon speaking lamb like beast. And in sports, y'all like to talk about Prime. Y'all like to talk about Prime and Prime's son, Deion Sanders, and his son, Y'all like to talk about Prime. Call itself Prime for Optimus Prime. The Prime Meridians. They talk about equinoxes. They talk about solar eclipses. They talk, when you hear Prime, you ain't talking about Prime. We talking about Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder has parallel rungs, parallel lines. And the enemies of God want you to go parallel from the Far East to the Middle East, huh? To the transatlantic slave trade, huh? To the 13 colonies, to the 13 colonies of Europe in the slave trade. The Midwest is the Middle East. That's what they want you to believe. The Midwest is supposed to be the Middle East. But in Revelation 13, it talks about the dragon speaking lamb-like beast. And you have a buffalo, which is the emblem of the European founding fathers who wanted to steal, kill, and destroy. It's called capitalism. Capitalism is theft. Capitalism is robbery. Capitalism is envy and jealousy. Capitalism is the snake. And Revelation clearly states that there would be the final beast in Earth's history will be a dragon speaking lamb like beast. So it would speak, it would present itself as visually, it would have the form of godliness. When you look at a buffalo, when you look at a buffalo and they claim that the Indians survived the cold and the Indians, they number one, their number one commodity, gold to the Indians. They claim, this is their narrative, wasn't no Indians over here. The buffalo was the number one commodity because it was so numerous. And then the fur. But in Revelation, every beast always has horns. Always, every beast always has horns. And a buffalo has two horns. A buffalo has two horns. Europe and America. Revelation 13 says, it will be a dragon speaking lamb like beast. Elsewhere in Revelation it says, three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. The beast, that beast, the US is the beast that has the appearance of a lamb, but in his voice the dragon rings. A fire breathing dragon. Slavery. Fire breathing dragon. It has the appearance of the land of the free and the home of the brave. But black codes and hung people from trees. The KKK has the appearance of the lamb. Democracy, freedom, for justice for all. Nowhere in the history of the country that y'all claim Does the narrative that they speak about themselves match up with the actions that they actually did? Dragon speaking lamb like beast, has the appearance of the lamb, but in his voice the dragon reigns. Three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the dragon, the beast, and a false prophet. So if Revelation tells you that there's going to be a false prophet, beast, nation, and kingdom, how do you live your life and not identify what nation or what kingdom that is? That's what my wife was telling you all, was telling me. Because in 1993, in our senior year, we had a religion class at Pond Forge Academy, and our textbook was a very specific book. And when we was going through the book, I knew the book backwards and forwards. And so when there was questions about it is a prophetic book. And the key thing about E.T. the hip hop preacher, E.T. the hip hop preacher had just come to Pond Forge Academy with Derek Green, the senior year of Derek Green's wife, Kim Green, formerly Kim Shropshire, my big sis. 1991 was Kim's senior year. 1991 was Kenisha's freshman year. 1991, was Kenisha's first year at Pond Forge Academy. Derek Green met his wife, and I met my wife. In 1992, Break the Cycle was formed. 1991, E.T. the hip hop preacher and his wife, Dee Dee Mosley, they began their union down at the Philadelphia Wedding Bell Tower. They was in the Philadelphia Wedding Bell Tower. Y'all know Philadelphia is known for the bell. Philadelphia is known for the bell. They told you it's the Liberty Bell. It ain't no Liberty Bell. It's the Wedding Bell. The Wedding Bell Tower Ministry came and they did a skit with Mason West and Shamika West. These is all marriages. These is all marriages from Pond Forge Academy and Oakwood University, dating back 1991, 1992, 1993. We the marriage makers. We the Philadelphia Wedding Bell Tower marriage makers. And this unclean spirit like frogs, y'all talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of liberty is a statue, a whore, mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots. And you got a church, the Seventh-day Adventist church, that talk about religious liberty. Anybody using that word, that is a pig Latin term that only means one thing, the harlot. The same harlot from Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife, that was turned into a pillar. Idolatry was created when Lot's wife, who was a prostitute of prostitutes, just like Lot and the men of Sodom were male shrine prostitutes of prostitutes. She was a woman shrine prostitute. That was Abraham's family problem from the beginning. They were in Ur of the Chaldeans, outside as outcasts, lepers, outside the city. And God came to a family of outcasts and family of lepers and began the plan of redemption so that even the worst of the worst in the lowest bottom rungs could know that there's a guttermost path out of the guttermost to the uttermost. Abraham is the guttermost path. Abraham is the promise that even those who engage in the shrine prostitution, even those who engage in the witch of Endor harlotry, Delilah was the witch of Endor, who was a gold digger, fool's gold digger, who took 30 pieces of silver, just like Judas did. Judas was the male shrine prostitute. Delilah was the female shrine prostitute. It stretches all throughout history. But those two horns are the two horns that make up the U.S. Revelation talks about the woman riding the beast, the scarlet harlot, decked in fool's gold, Delilah's fool's gold. Delilah sold her soul to kill the deliverer for that generation. Samson, it said God rose up Samson to bring vengeance and destruction and death on the Philistines for their idolatry. Samson was an instrument of death. Samson was raised to destroy God's enemy on earth physically with military might. It's called righteous indignation. That was Samson's purpose. His purpose was to kill for God. And Delilah and the people of the day conspired to prevent God's instrument from bringing judgment in that generation. And in this same generation, we have entities that claim to have the form of godliness, but they are the dragon speaking lamb like beast of Revelation 13, and I'm here to expose it. And in the play, in the skit that E.T. and them did, they were showing you the battle between Michael and his angels and Satan and the 1/3 that got cast out. And when I saw E.T. and Derek Green play out the battle between demons and Michael's angels, 2 years later, when my senior class was in religion, I began answering every question in religion to let my class know we gonna live through this. We the generation that's gonna live through this. And when this happens, this is what I'm going to do. So every day in class, I'm telling them, as he reads the chapter and then he has questions for us and test questions, I'm like, we the generation that's going to happen in. And when it does, I'm going to lead us and our people to win the final battle on earth and go to the kingdom. So in 1999, my wife said, it's time to see that. In 1999, my wife said, we around here playing around with education and playing around. I wasn't even attempting to get a degree at Oakwood. I had already told them what my purpose in life was. I never ever even attempted to get a degree at Oakwood. I never ever 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 ever. I never ever ever. What is a degree? Nothing. What is a degree? Nothing. What is your profession? Nothing. If you can't win that final battle, going through the motions will only put you in the lamb-like beast. The text that say 3 unclean spirits like frogs. The text that say 3 unclean spirit like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. It also says Gog and Magog and those 3. So the 5-pointed star, the pentagram of Washington, D.C., the pentagram that y'all love, the pentagram that y'all worship, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. And then the people who follow these symbolic entities, the 2 horns, Gog and Magog, Sodom and Gomorrah. The men, shrine prostitutes, is Gog, Greece, black Greeks, Magog, the black Roman women, Isis, Kali, Ishtar. And you got these women in this sisterhood. All they are Roman Catholic nuns. They call themselves the Eastern Stars. And they got that same 5-pointed star. 3 unclean spirits come out of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. And it says Gog and Magog will be thrown into the lake of fire with them. Sodom and Gomorrah was the representation of that lake of fire. Egypt was the representation of that lake of fire. And when Pharaoh was killed, his queen didn't go into battle. So his queen took the throne. Her name was Nefertiti. And Nefertiti had a sex change. This is where y'all get drag queens and sex changes from, because there was laws in Egypt that only men could sit on the throne. And she wanted to rule like Satan wanted to rule. This is where y'all get your nuns from. This is where y'all get y'all sisterhoods from. Okay? So she began castrating the men. Soon as word came back that her husband, first of all, she hated her husband and her husband hated her. They only entered into a marriage because the laws of the land said, based off of God's in the beginning image, so we got to have a man and a woman. Ramses II hated Nefertiti. Nefertiti hated Ramses I, Ramses II. So when he died, she got her opportunity. He was abusive. He was all of the things that men are to women and children. So when she got the opportunity to rule, she took out on men everything that her husband took out on her. That's the spirit of Isis. That's the spirit of Ishtar. That's the spirit of the Eastern Stars. Remember, Revelation 13 said it had the appearance of the Lamb, but in his voice the dragon reigns. So they put forth a good face on their fraternal organization. But the spirit of the organization is based in Nefertiti. She castrated men. The men of Egypt fled to present day Turkey. So the Greek society where Greek men love Greek men, it was created as a result of them fleeing from Nefertiti. When Nefertiti became Pharaoh, She took the throne as a man. She changed her name to Hatshepsut and took the throne as a man and ruled as a man. Same thing with Cleopatra. And it's 1440 years between when Moses and them left Egypt and went into the promised land, and where Nefertiti, this is where y'all get transgender from, this is where y'all get lesbianism from, this is where y'all get women on women, and that's what Gomorrah was. The women lived in Gomorrah, the men lived in Sodom. This wasn't new. What Nefertiti and Ramses was going through was not new. That's what Nimrod, nymphomaniac Rod. That's what Nimrod is. Nymphomaniac Rod. Sex, where he built a Tower of Babel, was the very first shrine for the shrine prostitutes. He said we're going to defy God with our sex. That defiles God's entity of marriage. And so that final battle, that war, that spiritual battle and that spiritual war. 1999, it's 25 years. It's the quarter. It's 2025. It's 2025. Huh? The quarter. And so to honor my wife's wishes, I'm going to finish the final battle. Now, the book that we were studying, I'm not going to take y'all through the whole book, but I promise the world that the last 8 chapters of that book that E.T. and Derek Green and them played out for us on stage. I created Hollywood Studios, Hollywood Grail Pictures to tell this story. And there's a chapter called The Time of Jacob's Trouble, based off of Matthew 24. 2024 just happened. Matthew 24 says, there shall be a time of trouble, such as the world has never seen. There will be a time of trouble, such as the world has never seen. And so, to my people who going through the strife, Revelation 13 talks about no man can buy or sell. It's not no man. No man with the mark of that beast. No man that belongs to the beast and the beast system can buy or sell. So the way I'm going to expose the false prophet. The false prophet taught. False prophet is the spiritual entities that teach false prophecy to deceive the people so they will not receive the deliverer. So the greatest false prophecy of y'all day is something called the rapture. It's something called the rapture. And there was a documentary series called Monumental. And the chaplain of the U.S. Senate, Barry Black, they claim Seventh-day Adventist royalty. How? In that documentary, the British Crown has a very, very, very specific church. The Episcopal Church is the Church of England. And so they produced Monumental because this doctrine comes straight from England, the Church of England, the Episcopal Church. And so when you're the chaplain of the Senate, you're a part of Herod's court. You're a part of Herod's court. So he had to get in Monumental and co-sign it. I'm just telling y'all, I'm just telling y'all from the denomination that I was raised in how to expose the false prophet in the denomination that you raised in. Because there's no such thing as a 7-year rapture. And all of these Christian churches teach that God's people are going to be taken away in the rapture. It didn't happen. It ain't going to happen. It'll never happen. Because the rapture is a spiritual concept that God is talking about. And just like Lot was taken, but his wife was left behind as a statue, that's the rapture. Two will be taken. Two will be there. One will be taken and the other left. Because Lot's wife had the desires of Sodom and Gomorrah still in her heart. And so when Michael the archangel came to Lot, Lot desired to leave Sodom. The only the only thing that prevents you from going to the kingdom is you desire the things that God has called you out of. It doesn't matter what you're in. What matters is I will give you the desires of your heart. If I come to call you to take you to the kingdom from being a whore, a prostitute, a slut, if you desire the thing that I just called you out of, I will let you have the thing. That's the only gospel there is. I will give you the desires of your heart. There's no physical rapture. There's two groups from the Abraham line. This has nothing to do with the perfect line. This only exclusively has to do with the least of these our brethren, Abraham's line. And it's two groups in the least of these our brethren. God never talks about the perfect line. Never. He doesn't need to talk about the perfect line because they're perfect. The book was written for the two groups in the least of these our brethren. One part of the group, 70% of the world. It's not even 70% in the group though. Cotton candy time. Oh man, the bouncy house just came out. So what I want y'all to know, because I declared to the world that I was going to reveal to the world that which God revealed to me as a child. Immediately after 2024, when we came into 2025, I stepped right into the time of Jacob's trouble. Good job. Good job. This phenomenal lady right here in the yellow. This phenomenal lady in the yellow. This phenomenal lady in front of the choir. The phenomenal lady sitting down in the blue over there. This phenomenal home and school. The lady in the tan shirt is the head of the home and school department. It's the same department that my grandmother, Ora Lily Legette, and all of her sisters supported my father's ministry through the home and school. This concept right here, this model, these ladies, along with my mother who is in the office,